extraordinaire composer. Terence, we go back to the
Yes,
early
we do.
80s when
Yes, we do.
when I was a young on-air announcer at WBGO and you were a young trumpeter in Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers.
Right, right. I remember those days playing sweet
Yeah,
basil, crack
McCall's, I
houses.
remember.
Yeah,
But since
right.
then, you have certainly advanced in leaps and bounds. You have gone on to lead your own bands, composed more than 40 film scores, earned 6 Grammys. Your journey has been amazing, and it's I'm just so proud. I'm so proud and happy to witness it, and
Thank you.
especially you're becoming the first African American composer in the history of the Metropolitan Opera. Yes, welcome to WBGL.
Thank you for having me. I mean, it's good
Yeah.
to see you. It's been a while.
It's been a while, but you have been
Yeah.
busy, so I won't say much, but congratulations and keep on doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Um, Last season, your opera "Fire Shut Up in My Bones" caused a sensation at the Met, setting the stage for one of the most notable premieres in recent history. Now, I know we were all in New York. Everybody was going to the opera. We all, what are you wearing? Are you going to the opera? That was like the talk of the
Yeah,
town, me
yeah,
included.
yeah.
Now you're back with
Hmm.
Champion,
Hmm.
based on the story of legendary boxer Emile Griffith and
Yes.
directed by James Robinson. Did I
Hmm.
say the name correctly? Emile?
Yes. Hmm.
Emile
Yes.
Griffith?
Hmm.
Directed by James Robinson, starring bass baritone Ryan Speedo Green as Griffith, and Yannick Nezet-Segan is the
Right.
conductor.
Yes.
You already made history with Fire Shut Up in My Bones, and now you're back with this exciting second opera project. That
Hmm.
takes a lot of work, Terence. Did you have some downtime to work on it during the pandemic?
You know what's interesting? This is actually my first opera. So I wrote this one first in 2013,
Whoa.
and Fire Shut Up in My Bones was my second opera. But I still had to revise a lot for this production. We've added a couple of arias, and then there were a lot of spoken words in the original version where I had to go back and write musical lines for, and then some things we didn't totally rewrite, but we added other text and dialogue uh, to it. So there's about 30 to 40% of it that's new.
Okay. So, can you tell us what's the story behind Champion Love and Boxing?
Sure. I mean, it's the story of Emile Griffith. It's really a story about redemption and forgiveness. You know, Emile was a welterweight fighter from St. Thomas who was a reluctant fighter. That wasn't his first choice. He loved to sing, he loved to dance, but a guy recognized his physical attributes and started to train him.
Hmm.
And he rose to the ranks of becoming the welterweight champion. And he fought a guy named Benny Perrette twice. Each one of them, won one of the fights, and they had a third and deciding fight. And Benny tried to get a heads up over Emile emotionally in the press conference. He knew Emile was bisexual, and it was
Mm,
something at the time that we didn't talk in sports. We didn't talk about it in public. So he
right.
outed Emile at the press conference by calling him a maricon. And, Emile was extremely upset about it. And the night before the fight, Benny Perrette had a dream that he shouldn't be he should get out of the fight. He tried to get out of it, but he went into it anyway. Emile caught him in the corner, hit him 17 times in less than 7 seconds, knocked him out. He fell into a coma for 10 days and then died.
Mm,
Obviously, Emile was devastated because they were actually friends.
mm,
And then years later, Emile was coming out of a gay bar after he retired. He struggled with his career after that, wouldn't
mhm,
fight in the corner when he had fights. So he wound up becoming a security guard at a correction center, and was at a gay bar, coming out of a gay bar, and was beat almost to death. You
mm.
know, and people tend to think that was the start of his dealing with dementia at that time. Now he said something, later on in his life, and it's the reason why I wanted to write the opera. He said, "I killed the man and the world forgave me." He said, "But I loved the man and the world wanted to kill me."
Yeah, I love that. I was
Hmm.
going to ask you what attracted you to that story, particularly,
Hmm.
and that's
But
it.
well, yeah, that was definitely because Leslie, I listened when I won my first award. I kissed my wife at the Grammys and didn't think about it. And then I thought about Emile becoming welterweight champion and not being able to celebrate that openly with anybody he
Yeah,
loved.
yeah, it's beautiful, and we need more stories like that told. So thank you again. Now, an opera seems like a huge undertaking, Terence.
Mhm.
Can you explain in layman's language how you approach such a large scale project?
Prayer and alcohol.
Amen to that.
Let me
And a
tell
lot
you.
of late nights, I'm sure.
Oh, a lot of late night. I mean, because I was scared to death. I mean, I had heard a lot of opera growing up because my father loved opera, but I had never
Hmm.
thought about writing opera. So for me, I wanted my operas to all sound natural because when I listen to Puccini, I love how the words tend to dictate what happens melodically,
Mm,
right? So I was scared. So I wanted to make sure I did it right. So I took the libretto and I would read it out loud. And when I would read it out loud, I would write the rhythms from that. Da 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 da. You know what I mean?
okay.
So I would put those rhythms underneath the libretto for the entire opera. Then I would go back and I started to create melodic lines and then think about scenes and how the scene should be dealt musically and just go from there. I called my composition teacher, Roger Dickerson, man.
Hmm.
And Roger told me, he said, stop thinking about writing opera, just tell a story, you
Mm,
know? And that was probably the best advice I could get. And then I literally took the attitude, I'm like, you know, well, look, man, let me just go ahead and do this and see what happens. If it doesn't work, I just go back to my other life and leave this alone.
yeah.
Really.
Well,
I mean, that's really what I was thinking. Yeah.
well, look, it has paid off. Can you tell
Thank
me
you.
how different this is from writing a film score and the music that you write for recordings?
It's very different because, you know, it's similar to writing music for my recordings more so than doing
Mm,
film stuff.
mm,
Because when I'm writing music for my recordings, I'm even though the imagery never manifests itself into something concrete, there is
right.
imagery that kind of influences what it is that I write for my band. So, you know, when film, I'm responding to something somebody else shot and cut together. Here, you know, that's not the case. I'm reading the libretto and I'm imagining all of the scenarios in my mind and
Mm,
then trying to set the tone for those things musically. And the beautiful part of it is that when you work with great collaborators that you trust, man, they come in and they bring in these ideas of how to
right.
stage it and how to light it and how to deal with the sets that really take it to a whole nother level.
Different level,
You
yeah.
know, we just had a rehearsal of running the whole thing through on stage here, you know, with some of the guys, not everybody, but some of the guys in their wardrobes because we were working on quick changes, you know, in
Hmm.
between scenes. And it looks phenomenal. And I look at it and Leslie, I'm really trying to figure out how the hell I got here. You know, you know what I mean? It's
Just go
because
with this, run with it, Terrence.
I don't have no choice. You know, I'm here now. You know, like Art Blakey used to
Yeah,
tell us, you already goofy a jazz musician, so you may as well run with it. So I'm taking the same scenario here. Just
yeah.
continue to work hard and try to learn as much as I can.
Shoot, you got black folk going to the opera like in droves. So keep on doing it.
Well, you know that I'm gonna tell you, man, that was the thing that was like really, really powerful for me. And
Yeah,
what those black people need to know is that their presence helped save the Met. The Met was in financial trouble, but fire shut up in my bones due to everybody that came out really helps. That's why I'm here this year. You know, this other journalist told me the only other composer that had back-to-back operas, you know, at the Met was Richard Strauss in 1945. You know, so I owe a debt of gratitude to everybody that showed up and came out and supported the opera.
well, we were all there, and it was just, I remember just the excitement about it. One, because it was you, one, it was because you're the first African American. And it was like, yeah, come on, Terrence. How important has your director, James Robinson, been to this achievement?
Extremely important. I mean, there's certain things that he does, Leslie, that you know it's not in the libretto or in the music, but it
Mm,
would really help to tell the story. There's one scene in particular where the mother is having struggles talking about what it is that she did. Her son is a little upset with her, young Emile, and the older Emile, who, you know, we have three Emiles. Emile is this is the whole opera is
mhm.
about a flashback in his life. So
Okay.
the older Emile, who's a wiser guy, is standing behind the younger Emile, who's upset. And Jim Robinson said, "Hey, why don't you just shove the younger Emile and make him go over and give his mom a hug?" Well, that's not in anything in the libretto or the music, but it was a powerful move, and he does stuff like that all the time throughout the production, and it's really takes the story to a new place.
Mm. Oh wow! Well, tell us a little bit about the cast.
Man, I'm so lucky to have the guy Ryan Speedo Green. You know, unfortunately, the way we learned about him was through the death of one of the other principals in Champion, Arthur Woodley. He was going to play Uncle Paul in Fire Shut Up in My Bones, and all of a sudden we lost him, and then Speedo fell into his place. And I heard him in rehearsal, and we just thought he was phenomenal. An amazing voice with an amazing story, man. He's come a long way. He was a child of abuse, you know, had a troubled childhood, but now he's one of the leading male vocalists in the operatic world. Eric Owens, who plays the older Emile, is a veteran beyond belief. He was the male lead in Porgy and Bess here at the Met. You know, LaTonya Moore, she also played the mother in Fire Shut Up in My Bones, but she's a soprano that's beyond belief. And you know, Brittany is a new talent who's playing the wife, and her voice is just amazing. And then I have a homeboy, man, Paul Grove, who's actually a tenor, who's playing Howie, the trainer of Emile. But I have to tell you, all of these voices, even the voices in the chorus, they're like first rate. You know, I told somebody the first time I came here, I said, it's a weird feeling walking into a room of like 50 people and being the only dude that can't sing, because everybody can sing. You know what I mean? Like, and look, and they want me to illustrate stuff to them. I'm like, no way. I'll play it on the piano. You're never going to hear my voice.
Sing.
No, you know.
I hear you.
No.
So the cast is of like a cast of 8?
No. It's, I mean, the production is huge.
Okay.
I mean, we have, I think, about 40 people in the chorus alone. We have the principals. I think they're about 8 to. I have to count them. I think it's about 8 to 12 principals. And then we have a bunch of dancers. We have like about 20 some dancers, and then we have actors as well. Plus a large, you know, orchestra with a jazz trio of Adam Rogers on guitar, Matt Bowen on bass, and Jeff Tainwash playing drums.
Nice. What has the advance response been like so far?
Oh, it's been crazy. This opera is even more dramatic than Fire Shut Up in My Bones, even though it was my first. And, you know, it's been a while since we've done it, but now doing it here and the production being bigger than it's ever been, it's really, really a crazy thing to experience here, especially today, because we did a full run through of the entire thing. I feel
it's
really
run-throughs all the way in.
Yes, I feel very blessed to have these experiences with these folks. They're not only are they great people to work with, but they're helping me learn and helping inspire me to move forward and learn more about opera.
That's one. And you listen, you're turning us on to opera as well. Those of us who, I think this will be my 3rd opera ever. I want to do more, and thank you for that.
Look, you know what I have to tell you. You know, there was a guy when we did Champion in New Orleans. There was a African American gentleman in his mid-70s who came up to me and he said, "You know, man, if this is opera, I'll come." And one of the things that Peter Gelb and Yannick and myself we've been talking about is how it's important to bring these stories to light that relate to people's lives today. You know, the big thing about Fire was people saw themselves on the stage, and it's going to be the same thing, same type of experience here with Champion. And I love Puccini, I love La Boheme, I love Turandot just like anybody else. But those stories were relating to his period in time. It's incumbent upon us, and Peter Gelb sees it, to continue to do more stories that are current. He's going to do Malcolm X, you know, and he's commissioning some other composers to write some new stories.
Yeah, no, it'll make me become a member of the Met.
Good.
I'm sure. You know, one more thing about the project, Terence, is one of the things that makes Champion special is the fact that a straight male composer is embracing the story of a tortured gay boxer and showing a great deal of compassion for the unique challenges Emile Griffith faced. What is the source of that compassion aside from basic humanity?
Well, I mean, being a kid who grew up learning how to play music in my neighborhood wasn't the most popular thing, even though I grew up in New Orleans.
Right.
Walking to the bus stop with a horn and wearing glasses didn't make me the cool kid on the block. So
Right.
I understand what isolation can feel like, and for me, there's a certain aspect of it that just makes me sick, where we just need to, love and let live.
Yes.
Nobody's trying to out here actively campaign to turn somebody into something that they're not.
Right.
But we need to accept people for who they are. And
Oh, Terrence is frozen. Terrence
I just,
frozen.
yeah, I'm back. I just think it's sad when somebody like Emile couldn't share any of these things openly with somebody he loved. And also, the story is really about forgiveness and redemption, because at the end, when Benny Perret Jr. tells Emile, just from the family, we need to let you know we don't harbor any ill will.
Right. Mm-mm. Coming back.
You can tell he's been holding that pain for 30 years. So he
Yeah.
needed to figure out a way to forgive himself.
Well, thank you for telling the story and introducing another generation of opera goers around the world. Where is the opera off to next? You have a run in New York City at the Metropolitan from April 10th through the 13th. And does it have another run somewhere else? Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Terrence
you
froze.
froze for a second. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
That's the
Oh,
security. That's the security thing here at the Met.
oh, yeah,
Yeah,
right. Oh, wow.
yeah.
So the champion runs from April 10th through the 13th. And where does it go off to next in the world?
It's supposed to go to Chicago,
Okay.
and then we're trying to figure out who else is going to pick it up. We just learned that Fire, Shut Up in My Bones, is going to the Kennedy Center pretty soon, so we're
All
excited about
right.
it too.
Congratulations. Yes.
Thank
And
you.
congratulations on just everything, Terrence. She's just make my heart just, burst because I've been checking you out for a very long time. And, it's
Yeah,
very glad to have you here today. I'm looking
thank you.
forward to, once again, returning to the Metropolitan Opera.
Hmm.
Champion runs from April 10th through May 13th. Terence Blanchard, thank you so much.
Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate
See
you.
you.
You remember when my hair was a different color. So
Uh-huh. Yeah, I do, Terrence. I remember so much, but and yet here we are.
there we go.
Here we are. Love you,
All
brother.
right.
Say
All
hello to
right.
Robin.
I will. Take care.
Okay. Okay,
Bye bye.
take care. Bye-bye.